The NFL has a serious problem. I made a video about this a few days ago, and it just keeps getting worse and worse. When it comes to Jameson Williams, the question will always be, did or didn't Jameson Williams know explicitly that he could not place a bet on a college game from a hotel room that was booked for his team during a road game? We may never know that. But what we do know is some information has come to light about what the NFL decided to do for the Pro Bowl games in 2023 and the last Pro Bowl in 2022. Both were held in Las Vegas. Now, according to Mike Florio, NFL players cannot enter a casino. They can't even go in during the NFL season. Now, for those of you who remember, I made an illustration about Jameson Williams and how ticky-tacky this rule seems to be. To me, it seems like you can get caught up, especially if you don't fully understand what the nuances of the rule are. Now, we can debate in the comment section all day long. Did he or didn't he know? I made a video saying I find it hard to believe he didn't know. Well, looks like he may not have known. The reason I say that is because of what we found out today from Pro Football Talk. When you hear this, this is going to be quite intriguing. According to Mike Florio, says per the NFL, the league and the NFL Players Association agreed to revise the gambling policy for both last year, for now, Pro Bowl in 2022 and the first ever Pro Bowl games in 2023. Now first I thought this was retroactive, but it looks like this information is just coming out and they had already did this. The union and league agreed that participating players in Las Vegas will be considered to be on personal time for the purpose of the gambling policy, except during periods when they were scheduled for Pro Bowl related events. Now remember, if you are on league business, including a game, you cannot participate in certain things or you will violate the gambling policy. But what they did is they made an exception for that as long as they weren't scheduled for Pro Bowl related events. So if you were scheduled and you didn't go and you did something, that would count as an offense. Let's continue. It says players were able to enter casinos and participate in legal non-sports gambling. They were not at any time, however, permitted to use a sports book and were prohibited from wagering on sports. Both the union and league recognize that the agreement applied only to Pro Bowl week and would not affect the application of the CBA or gambling policies for any other NFL game or event. So if you follow that, during the NFL season, players cannot go in to casinos. But during this time, as long as they were not scheduled for a Pro Bowl event, they could go into the casino. Now, according to Mike Florio, the article continues to say, players who did not qualify for the Pro Bowl games can go to Las Vegas that week and legally place wagers via apps on their phones. But if you qualify for the Pro Bowl games, you cannot. Now, so if St. Brown was in the Pro Bowl games, his brother was not. His brother could place bets on the NBA, which was going on, but St. Brown could not, right? That, if I'm understanding this right, you see how it's all over the place. St. Brown, Amon Rock qualified while Equinemius did not. Now, I saw something, and you guys were right. According to Google searches, you cannot appeal gambling suspensions. They are immediate and final. They cannot be appealed. But I wanted to read this to you guys because this thing is serious. If Roger Goodell decides to be lenient on Jameson Williams, what is that going to mean for the rest of the NFL? So I don't think we're going to see a leniency. After all, he made this decision. But I guess you shouldn't bite the hand that feeds you, right? Because it could have been worse, right? I'm going to read this to you, and it could have been worse. Now, we know that Calvin Ridley got a year suspension. And this is from 2018, so it could be different now. But Calvin Ridley got a year suspension. Quintez Cephas got a year suspension. C.J. Moore, year suspension. Stanley Berryhill got a 6-game suspension. He was cut. He's unemployed at the moment. But according to the NFL gambling, the same article or document we looked at last week, this is what it says that Roger Goodell could decide to do. I want to make this where you guys can see it, so I have to blow it up or make it a little smaller. And this is probably, Jameson Williams can't suspend. He can't appeal. But this is probably why he's not making a peep when it comes to trying to make any ruckus about this. All right, so check this out. Violations. Okay? Right here, I'm reading number 7, violations. Violations, apparent or alleged violations of the NFL of this policy by NFL personnel will continue to be decided by the commissioner or his designee on a case-by-case basis, which means that Jameson Williams, was decided on his case. Berryhill was his case, and so on and so forth. Violations of this policy constitute conduct detrimental to the league and will subject the involved club and or persons to appropriate disciplinary action by the commissioner. Such disciplinary action may include, without limitation, severe penalties up to and including a fine, termination of employment, and or banishment from the NFL for life. I'm going to read that again. Such disciplinary action may include, without limitation, severe penalties up to and including a fine, termination of employment, and or banishment from the league for life. So it appears as though the NFL went easy on Jameson Williams for violating a policy he may or may not been explicitly understanding. He may not have understood. Everyone's level of understanding is different. I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't know the handbook. I don't know what was said. Was he asleep? Was he up? The Lions also could have been punished from what Jameson Williams did. But Jameson Williams could have been kicked out of the NFL and banned for life for betting on a non-NFL game in a hotel that his team was staying at in an away game. But yet, in Vegas, because they were, I guess I understand to some extent, the Pro Bowl is supposed to be a reward. You're supposed to be on vacation, stuff like that, right? But you're not. You're part of the league. This is official league business. So if I was selected to the Pro Bowl, I decided I didn't want to go. I was going to let somebody else go. Now I'm not on league business. I can go and gamble. And I could even use an app. I can gamble on the MLB. Well, it wasn't going on in February, but I can gamble on the NBA. I can gamble on hockey or whatever. This right here, the NFL and the Detroit Lions and every other league team in this league, they need to, because in this documentation as well, it says that the Detroit Lions could have also penalized Jameson Williams, but if theirs was less severe than the NFL's, then the NFL's would take precedence. They could also add their own training and their own discipline. So it could be worse, right? But the NFL, this is very confusing. So now what teams need to do is they need to be explicit. They need to make sure that every team needs to do the same thing. Have the rookies come in, have the players come in, and explicitly go over what the rules, what you can and cannot do. I would start quizzing people. I would give them a test. And if they failed, they had to take it again. They had to take another class until everybody knew what you could or could not do. And if they had any doubt, I would even have somebody in there whose job, and maybe they already have it, is to answer any question about a policy that could be violated. And if they didn't know the answer, they went and got it. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is all because of what's happened over the last 2 years. And my only interest comes from the fact that Jameson Williams got suspended. If he doesn't get suspended, do I care like I do? Like I do now? Do I even care to know? Right? So let me know your thoughts. I know this video was pretty long, but I hope it was informative. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It could have been worse for Jameson Williams. So it appears as though they went easy on him. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.